Heartbreaking images are coming in from the Gaza Strip. Remember, with the bombings and currently the strikes that are also on with the ground offensive, the visuals on your screen from the Gaza Strip. We are being told that there are more firing that have taken place. This is the Jabaliya camp is where these images are surfacing. A death toll has also been reported. We are being told this was an airstrike on a densely populated camp, which is called as the Jabaliya refugee camp. Israel has also released images that there is an airstrike that has happened. Now, according to the Israeli Defense Forces, this camp was being used by the Hamas. It was actually known as a Hamas stronghold. This is where they set up their the stronghold of the Hamas terror groups. And remember, Hamas is also in control of the Gaza Strip's government. So that is why it also has that stronghold. But sadly, it is the civilians who are facing the brunt. Look at these heartbreaking visuals of injured women and children, of people, and this is a reflection of what the war has done. If there are, of course, barbarity that we saw of Hamas in Israel on 7th October, but in Gaza now people continue to die. Many people who have lost their children, families have been wiped out in Gaza, and the war is on.
כוחותינו נלחמים כעת בעומק רצועת עזה. מחסלים מחבלים בהתקלויות מטווח קצר, תוקפים מטרות בתקיפות משולבות מהיבשה, מהאוויר ומהים. בשעות אחר הצהריים, כוחות חי"ר ושריון השתלטו על מעוז מרכזי של חמאס במערב העיר ג'באליה. מעוז זה שימש לאימונים לפעולת הטרור שאליה יצאו המחבלים לטבח, ומעבר למרחב החוף, ממנו יצאו מחבלים נוספים לטבח ב-7 באוקטובר. במהלך הקרבות חוסלו מחבלים רבים והושמדו תשתיות טרור. זו לחימה מורכבת, חלקה היא גם פנים אל פנים. בקרבות איבדנו לוחמים.
So remember that there are people dying and have died and lost their life both in Israel and now in Gaza, where the death toll also continues to increase. What does it look like really? And let me help you understand. On the ground, in the Gaza Strip, where the ground offensive is presently on, Israel Defense Forces are claiming that they're targeting Hamas. But what we see is basically the loss of a lot of civilian casualties too, and that is what I'm going to show you now. This is what the destruction looks like. These are complete neighborhoods that have been wiped off, as you can see. The bombings that have turned Gaza buildings into rubble. There are death toll being reported. These are different angles that we are bringing to you. The pile of rubble could provide cover for terrorists too. But also at a time like this, remember, many people have been unable to find their family members too. What these Hamas terrorists have done is they've placed their camps, their terror hideouts in civilian neighborhood, knowing fairly well earlier that Israel will not target, but when it did, there were clearly casualties too. So look at what really it looks like in parts. IDF may employ infantry armor supporting elements. That's more to do because they want to ensure that when it is needed, when they go in, they have enough equipment, whether it's of tanks or whether it's of soldiers. Now the terrorists can take position in these areas, and that's why they've chosen civilian neighborhood, expecting Israel and IDF will not target them. And that is why IDF has been giving out these warnings. But you can see the areas that have been targeted, these are clearly houses. And if we go by what IDF is saying, that these are areas where the Hamas group was. But also remember, nothing can justify the loss of civilian life, of innocent children, injured, orphaned, killed, families that have been wiped off. Military-grade suicide drones can be used for precision strikes. Remember, these are areas that are deliberately chosen. And that is the sad part also of Hamas's strategy, or what they are doing. They're deliberately putting Palestinians in front to die, to kill. And that, of course, because those heartbreaking images will, of course, then lead to pressure on Israel to cease fire. So these are the locations that you can see where the drones that are being used to ascertain what exactly are the areas that they can target. Let's go across to other visuals. The IDF tanks can become easy target for the Hamas weapons, because when they're put on the roofs, for example, from there, that is when they're targeted. These are, for example, the snipers or the suicide bombers. When they're targeting, they know exactly where the tankers are coming, the tanks are coming from. The infantry has to go door to door to clear buildings, because while they say they've been able to rescue one of the soldier hostages, there are many more who are still, and there's no information about the condition of those hostages too. So, of course, the soldiers, well-trained, well-prepared to go to door to find out what is the situation like. But as of now, it is engaging in close combat with the terrorists too. On that note, it's to help you understand that it is at a juncture where of course it's very important to, as Israel says, to beat and defeat the Hamas, but they will have to ensure that the civilians' loss of life also needs to be at the lowest.